Welcome back, everybody, to Worlds 2023. It is the final series before the knockout stage. 7 out of 8 teams have already earned their place. The final 2 competing here in this last best of 3. BLG took game number 1 convincingly, and in game number 2, G2 have decided no more Jax.
It's hard to blame him. I think that Bin is the best Jax player in the world. This guy is just... he's on another level. When he's on his game, when he's having his best games, what do you do? It's like, can you even blame him? Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's rough, right? So you got to take him off the pick. But the bad news for G2 is because the COG didn't work out, the bans are going to stay the same. It's going to be that Draven, it's going to be that Kalista that has now worked, you know, that just back to back to back to back to back. This would be game number 6 in a row against G2, and they've lost 5 straight with that ban against them. So they really need to solve something here.
I mean, we talk about the change of putting the Jax in the bans. Another change this time around, BLG not allowing the Poppy into the game, preventing the steadfast presence there. They don't want to be dealing with any of that. Nico, first pick here for G2 in their do-or-die situation. We have seen this champion make tons of plays. The potential of the ultimate to completely warp a fight is massive.
Absolutely. I mean, you come in, you can be cloned up, you have the W to kind of move you forward in that minion stealth. Then you have R, you have the rocket belt often, you have your flash. Like, you can create so much distance that even if an AD carry is playing pretty respectfully, you can close that gap like that. If you have your cooldowns, get in on him. We've seen so many incredible ultis pulled off, but problem is you just gave over Maokai Jace. And to me, that is the best jungle mid pairing in the game right now. I think that is incredibly difficult to deal with. The setup that it has around objectives is really powerful, but G2 say, you know what? We're gonna play aggressive, full send it. I love this. This is G2's style. They are confident, they are aggressive. Throw it all at the wall. See what you can get done here. Nocturne, Kai'Sa, full on dive.
Full dive, and the Xayah also banned away there in that first ban phase. Elk played it in game number 1. They know that's the number 1 anti-dive AD carry in the game. They don't want to allow him to run it back.
Renekton here would make things difficult. It is one of those picks that fighting through Renekton is just hard, right? You know, when you're trying to dive past the Renekton, when you're trying to ignore the Renekton, he can get in the middle of things. He can really make it tough. I'm also super interested to see where BLG are going to go with their bot lane picks now, because they did not draft their AD, they did not draft their support. If I'm G2, I would be personally pretty worried about things like a Renata potentially. If you're going to have full dive, Renata feels like such a strong answer, something that you do not want to be playing into.
Yes, sir.
And I think for BLG, they're naturally just going to be looking to ban out a lot of these aggressive pairings, things that work well alongside the Kai'Sa. So Nautilus is kind of that primo pairing that people always played with.
Maybe like a Rel, something like that.
Yeah, I think Rel would be another great ban if they want to look towards that direction. For G2, you're trying to ban out the picks that are going to be the best into a dive comp, right? So everyone memes about Ezreal, but maybe you're worried about that. Tristana, I think, is low-key super underrated. Tristana has some of the best self-peel, some of the best disengage with the Buster Shot, with the rocket jump. So I think that's a great ban from G2. It's also high DPS. You can make individual plays, and it is a smart ban there from G2. And they just have to start to really figure out what are the AD carries that we can attack. You know, what is the easiest AD for us to dive? And you try to push Elk towards that. So there's the Rel, as you called it out. Look at that brain on you.
Hey, we got it. We got it. You learned something after
do more than press Skarner Q.
Playing League of Legends for 13 years or whatever.
Butt twist, ban predictions.
Yeah, there we go.
Breaking his hand. What can he do?
We got it all. Let's see what the last ban is going to be here for G2. The Renata, exactly what you were talking about.
Wow, great job. Great job.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done. Handshake on that one. Firm handshakes all around. Renata's banned away. Pretty obvious choice there, like you were talking about. She's so good against dive. So instead, it's going to be the Rakan picked up for BLG.
Exactly. And Rakan is basically the third ban here, right? Because you're taking out both the Nautilus as well as the Rel. You're saying, okay, what would be the next engaged champion they want to pair with this Kai'Sa? And so you just deny it. You grab yourself one of those really strong engage options here for On, and you take it away from Mickey. So now, where do you go? And it's going to be the Olaf. So they're going to slam down the Olaf. We saw Fnatic bring it out. It really was. Oh, this is going to be the Lissandra counter pick.
The support Lissandra.
This is so interesting. They did play this. I want to say it was against Gen G in game 1 against Gen G. It did not work out, but it has worked out really well for them in the LEC. Both games that Hans played it did win, and other people really kind of adapted that. So it's fun to see some of these picks that started as niche picks in the LEC spreading around, right? Like the Olaf is spreading around kind of from Adam. You can see this pocket pick here of the Lissandra as well, and is very clearly full-on dive. The Lissandra meant to be a really good answer to that Rakan. You can W him, lock him down as he's going in, throw down that ulti, and you just pin him in place, because a lot of the survivability about that Rakan is about the mobility, about him, his ability to go in, dive out. All of a sudden, you're just getting locked down, burst down, that free kill right off the bat, and then Lissandra with that passive, the Frozen Thralls do so much damage, and they are an AoE slow while they are walking. They are really underrated as a part of power here. So G2 are full loading up on dive, and they're trying to get these burst kills where you can have Frozen Thralls running over everything, Broken Blade staying in melee range, keeping that ulti up, everyone piling in onto the back line here. And I think Elk's positioning is going to be so key. On the Zeri, if you're in open field, you could get smashed. But if you hug the walls, if you stay towards these spots, you could use that to retreat with your E over a wall, and that is going to still leave you Gao as a great target. So this is going to be a really exciting game. This is one of those ones for G2 where it's like a 0-10, 10-0, right? You know, it's going to either work great and they're going to run over BLG, or it's going to start to fall apart fast, and then you're going to have a lot of concerns about what they can do to come back.
Right. When everybody just runs in, it's so hard to run into somebody with a real big wallet. That's the problem with these types of comps. But man, when they get ahead, they just feel like a bulldozer. There's nothing you can do to stand up against those things. And particularly with Broken Blade on the Olaf, we talk about the importance of peel against compositions like this. Can't peel him. You have to kill him. So if you can get that lead where now he can start ball of stats, just stat checking opponents, what's the answer here?
Exactly. It becomes really, really tough from that spot. And you can see the respect being given to the dive. It's phase rush for Shun. It's phase rush from Gao here. They want to have these summoners to be able to play it safe. On is not going to be playing Ignite. It is going to be heal cleanse in the bot lane. They know they don't need to burst someone down. They just need to survive and keep that DPS rolling here. Love the invade here.
Olaf so strong at level 1. The ability to pick up the axes, remove most of the cooldown, and just continue those plays.
But look at this. BLG anticipate it, and they pull up On. They have 4 members here. They're going to be searching for this ward. Will On find it? He will over the wall.
There we go.
So they clear that out, and now Shun has the ability to either go down towards bot side, still do a top side start. You can see Broken Blade is actually walking up into that tri-brush, so he wants to get a bit of a poke down onto Bin. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it, but also spotting that ward down on bot side. So G2 are really trying to track Shun. They did have that D ward on the red buff, but they have another ward down on blue buff. And they're going to know that he's starting topside here because he's not going to be leashed on that blue. They'll have eyes on both Elk and On. And Yike is going to be starting down on this Raptor camp. You know, generally speaking, on Nocturne, it's all about the power clear. It's all about rinse and repeat here. You start on these small clamps, you can clear down and get those quick respawns to try to push yourself to a really fast level 6, where you can then hopefully get a very effective first ultimate. And I always feel like when I play this champion, your first ulti really sets the pace for the game, because if you can get that early
100%.
kill, you can just rinse and repeat, keep farming, ulti on cooldown. But when you get pushed back, when the ultis don't work, the cooldowns are so long early.
It's massive.
That you just don't have no effect on the game.
There's a few different champions in the game like that. You know, you think of something like Karthus, like Nocturne himself, all of these different things that have to have value out of the ulti because it's so much of the power budget of the entire champion, right? So eyes on Yike. Remember, yesterday there was a lot of criticism towards him specifically in the series against Energy, where Contracts was popping off and Yike was failing to find similar presence, similar pressure in the game.
Well, he didn't check the brush.
Oh,
he doesn't
no.
know that he's warded out. So we'll see. They could collapse up on this. On is coming. I don't think Yike knew, but he is now spotted. Mickey's going to be walking up as well, and Hans is here too. So BLG are going to have to give it up because the extra man does come. So G2, clearly they wanted to get that vision down. They want to be able to set up these aggressive moves. They will be able to take away the blue buff, so it is going to be a 3 buff very likely. You can see Broken Blade even already proxy farming here between the 2 towers because he knows that Maokai started on bot side, cleared down towards, or excuse me, started on top side and is cleared down towards bot. He is going to be safe to do so. It's not a monumental advantage because Shun should still be able to take Gromp and then likely get that bot side scuttle, but G2 clearly wanting to play it aggressive from the word go.
And I feel like if you're an LEC fan, that's what you want to see from G2. You remember G2 at their glory days, at their peak, this was a team that was aggressive. They were constantly making movements as a team all the time, playing stuff like mid lane Pyke, whose job is just to roam around and set things up. They were a war machine that were in your face 24/7.
And this year as well, when you look at them in playoffs, they really are that aggressive team. They bring out the spicy picks. They brought out Evelyn. They brought out Karthus. They brought out Kled. They bring out all kinds of really cool picks here to play aggressive, to play their style, because when they are really feeling it, when they're in that moment, they can take over the game. But BLG coming off of a really dominant game number 1. So I think even just for confidence sake, G2 really need to get a win here. Really need to get a good start to be able to propel them forward.
Oh, Shun coming in, but it didn't work out.
He W'd the minion. He flash twisted advanced the minion. And that, I don't know if it would have been a kill, but at the very least it would have been a summoner force. It would have been something. I think it might have been a kill, honestly, because you have the Rakan W then guaranteed after. So definitely a misstep there from Shun.
Big misplay from Shun, but now Mickey stepping up, has enough mana to take the claw to get himself back away. Hans still in retreat as Elk continues trading. Caps with control over the mid lane, shoving another wave into the tier 1 turret as Yike's coming around. Yagao is low on mana. They might just try to go for the full-on dive here. Cap's going to be taking the damage from the turret first. Yagao trying to get away, to the skies, trying to keep him alive, but it's Yike with the first blood for G2.
Nicely done by G2. Yagao did about as well as he could from that position, delaying, but G2 juggled the turret aggro expertly, had him chunked down, and even with the flash, even with the phase rush, he cannot get out of there. G2 already off to a good start, and that's that early win that I was talking about that can build some confidence, that can make you think, you know what, we can do this. We had some bad games, but we can do this, because it is 5 straight games that G2 have now lost, because the 2 straight to Gen.G, then 2 straight to NRG, then game 1 against this. So it's really important to start building some momentum, to keep that attitude where it needs to be.
700, excuse me, 7,000 would be a little too much.
Woo!
700 gold lead.
That's a gold lead already.
For G2 after this one. Let's take another look at how Caps played it and started off.
Yeah, he goes into the cannon minion on the shift there, and is just tanking it up in cannon minion form. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know exactly how that interaction works, but it seemed as though he was more tanky as the cannon minion almost than he should have been.
Cannon minion power.
Like, that was interesting, but actually just shifting into it. I know there's some tricks. That there was videos circulating around about some of the crazy stuff you can do, with that Neeko passive, where you can actually immune certain types of damage, you can reduce certain types of damage. So I'm guessing it was some sort of a trick along those lines. He spent all his spells. Broken Blade not 6, but does force out the ulti there from Bin, who is being respectful, but Caps now moving towards top side, or at least threatening that roam. But yeah, just really well done from G2. Spend all your spells, go into the cannon form, tank it up, buy all the time for Yike, and Yagao, even though he had the fancy feet, did it pretty well, just couldn't get out.
And Yike now level 5, halfway to level 6. Still needs a couple of more camps to get there. Then we'll have that moment you were talking about earlier. The first cast of Paranoia and whether or not it finds its mark. Going to be a huge moment for these guys. You can see Shun a little bit behind that level of EXP. He'll clear out this ward down here. First Drake of the game this time around is the Hex Drake, which he's great for stats on his own, but unfortunately it means he will not be the soul.
Exactly. If you're looking towards those best souls, that's the one you definitely want. G2 aware that they are starting it up, and Yike crossing down towards bot side to push them off. Even though Scuttle was up on top side, they have the push through mid. They are getting pushed in bot, but it is Caps moving down. They wanted to make sure that Dragon was not being taken. That's why Yike jumped off that top side. Also, soaks some XP there mid, now hits 6, so has that ulti available. And where will he go? You do have Broken Blade with the ulti and Bin with none, so I think there is potential, if you can get him chunked down, to look for a play there. But that's what Shun is reading. Shun is heading out straight up towards topside and wants to be around to cover.
Oh, Mickey goes in, looks for the lockdown. On having to back off now with only 200 HP remaining, but Hans also critically low, and Elk's ulti means that G2's not going to go any further, but hey, they trade the Ignite from Lissandra for the ulti from Elk. We'll see if they can take advantage of that before the ulti comes back up for the Zeri, but it doesn't look like it.
Yep, exactly, and Shun feeling now that Bin is safe as...
Never mind, they are going to go in. Elk is under pressure, and G2 finds their second kill.
G2 and 0, starting it off huge in this one. Ghost pop. Broken Blade's going to look for the all-in potentially here. Bin's trying to delay for his ulti.
Bin is level 8, Broken Blade is level 6.
Yeah.
That is quite a power disparity.
Yeah, that is a massive disparity, but the Ghost being popped, he clearly wanted the all-in, but the Axe gets sidestepped. Bin delays until his ulti's up. So nothing to find there for Broken Blade besides that missing summoner. And you look at the CS advantage on top side, it's a pretty massive top gap. You know, it's already that big lead that they're creating for themselves, but the 2 kills for G2, the Herald grabbed as well, does mean that they have an opportunity here to not only get a kill with the first ulti, but then potentially get a ton of plates. If you can get a kill in the solo lane, drop the Herald, really farm some plates there, you can maybe blow open this gold lead.
Having that kill on the Kai'Sa feels so good, too, because remember, with this massive dive comp, they need to have the damage for that go button to be a death button, and Kai'Sa's a big, big part of it.
Also really fun just seeing how these Nikos play around with the clone. You could see Caps there use the W and microed his clone forward in front of Yagao to block the shock blast that was going to be used the last hit. It's just these little things that you can do to kind of harass your opponent, to deny them CS. Yagao's having to play so far back because he has no flash. That is why he is so scared to walk up, because he has no vision on top side. You know, if you're looking at the map, no wards in this whole area, and he knows that Nocturne could be ulting in, right? So he has to play so far back, so respectfully, and it's allowing Caps to create these incremental advantages that are becoming big ones. He's only able to far from max range.
There they are, flash ulti, Yike coming in over the top, Paranoia claims Yagao. It's a 3-0 game for G2.
Look at the flash, the timer just barely not up. G2 picture perfect with the timing on that one. They get in on Yagao, who is playing so respectful, so defensive, but Bin going aggressive.
Bin level 9 to the level 7 of Broken Blade. A commanding lead in the top lane for BLG, but the game itself is in G2's hands. Caps crashing a massive wave into the mid lane tier 1 turret. They're up 1,500 gold. A TP's coming in. BLG wants to make a fight now as the Drake is going to be taken low. Shun comes up. The Drake is claimed by Yike, but it's going to be a kill and a shutdown. Back over to Bin's Renekton.
Honestly, not too bad. The fact that you're going to be able to just lose the 1 kill and be able to get that dragon, plus you're buying time for Broken Blade, who is really falling behind in this matchup, to crash a wave, to farm some plates, is going to be pretty big for him to stay relevant in this. G2 doing a great job, really off on the right foot here in game number 2. As they have been punishing Yagao. I mean, he has been playing respectfully, he's been playing so far back, but that early dive was expertly executed, then forcing just before he had flash was great as well. Again, it's all about the flash timer. He had it in almost, you know, it was under 5 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds after he died, so really good timing on that. But then BLG say, hey, we can punish here. They go with the Maokai ulti to try to set this up as Bin arrives over the wall. Yes, they do get the shutdown. It goes on a Bin, which is great, but just a little bit too late to try to get that denial of the dragon.
Seems like for BLG, there is a lot of weight on Bin's shoulders in this game. So much of this game being even as close as it is on his advantages up there in the top lane. So we're going to need to see a lot of presence from this Renekton as we move forward. Even though Broken Blade was able to get some extra farm, get himself that turret plate up there in top side during the TP to go into the bot side river dragon fight from Bin, he's still down over 30 CS.
Yeah, it is really, really rough up there. And Olaf from behind is just not that good. It's just not that threatening. And you can see, again, Caps playing this minigame where he constantly pops out his W there, and he puts it in between Yagao and the minions to deny farming with that shock blast, because Yagao is frightened, as he should be. He knows that, look at the itemization. I mean, he's got Merc Treads, a tier and a longsword to a fully completed Rocket Belt. It's not close. Yike also has a Stride Breaker and has ulti up.
All right, Elk's going in here in the bottom lane. Mickey goes over the wall there with the claw, trying to stop this play from happening. Yagao from downtown. Mickey trying to get himself away as Yagao is locked up, having to flash back the other direction. Yikes is here. Out. On's in trouble. They've brought Caps into the mix. He gets a root. He gets the extra damage from the blooming blows. Caps, Hans, Mickey, and Yike all trying to get away. Now they got what they came for. 4-1 game. G2.
It's blinking health bars there for G2, but they get out, and again, Bin is making the roam, but he hasn't. Okay, now he's spotted. Now they know they got to get out of there, because Bin knows the map is really falling apart for his team. He's the only strong one, so he's trying to get out there and trying to make a difference, but it's giving up free plates and farm again to Broken Blade, who really needs that time. So the fact that G2 are winning so heavily on the other side of the map is really kind of erasing this massive top gap that Bin did create, because he feels, you know what? We don't win this game if I just sit and farm. My team is bleeding out. I am the strong member. I need to be there and be ready to fight.
And he's also not on something like Jax. He's on Renekton. It's not like as the game goes forward, the clock favors him. Yagao steps up there, hurts Broken Blade a little, but doesn't want to chase him too far outside of the range of the turret. knows how deceptively difficult Olaf can be to 1v1 in those fair fights. It's a 2,500 gold lead for G2, 13.5 minutes into the game. This is such a different game state from game number one, and it's because G2 is just playing this really aggressive style. They're playing things like the Olaf top, like the Lissandra support, putting Yike on this Nocturne and trusting him to have this 3-1 start that has really enabled them to build this lead.
And it's beautiful to see Yike stepping up here in this moment. I felt he was G2's best player at MSI. He really showed up. And this is his rookie year, and having in this high pressure moment such a good start. Gets the dive mid, goes down, uses that ulti to great effectiveness on the repeat in mid, then is helping out on bot, getting them another kill. He has been everywhere, it feels like, and you can see in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot, big gold leads in mid and jungle, and that gold lead in top is really going away because Bin is spending all his time roaming, and Broken Blade is laning 1v0 farming plates.
When we saw this same graph in game number one, every single bar was red, favoring BLG, and Bin specifically was the one that was 1,500 up. It's a very, very different game state as Bin has to flash away from the root to guarantee that Caps wouldn't be able to grab him. Yike was hovering. Now Mickey trying to get away as the Nature's Grasp comes out on, wanting to reach him here with the quickness. Ain't quite gonna get there. Mickey wants to buy an extra moment here with the ulti, but Elk's got the damage.
Clean from on, perfect CC chain, because with just the knockup, it's still gonna have enough time to actually take that claw and get over the wall. So he has to do the knockup and perfectly chain that into the charm. So there's no ability for Mickey to reactivate, and also if you overlap it, you're still gonna be able to activate at the end. So really good stuff there from on, gets a kill onto Elk. And you can see, though, Caps pushing on this bottom side. Nico has really good turret damage. With that passive third auto, you're able to blast through those towers. So Yike takes the bot lane blue buff. He's in position to assist Caps if Bin were to go aggressive. That's why Bin had to flash earlier. He knew the Nocturne could be around. Also means it's going to be a freebie on the Dragon for them. And just look at the vision control down on this bot side. They kind of have this big circle of control that is going to keep Cap safe, going to keep him pushing up and extending that advantage.
Yugal trying to keep this tier 1 turret alive, should be able to make it last for this wave. But as for the next one, Broken Blade may just be able to hard force the issue. Caps and Yike working together in the way that they are has been a huge part of this game for G2. Just putting those two champions burst together in the same situation guarantees any of these guys on BLG are dead. There is no tank champion on BLG. Eventually, if this goes to 4 or 5 items, yes, Maokai can get tanky, but right now it's Demonic Embrace.
Yep, exactly. So there are these good targets for them to attack, but you can never underestimate the LPL team fighting. If you make a mistake, they will punish you. Elk is an incredible team fighter.
Yeah.
And we know that BLG know their win conditions. They're playing towards it. That is why Bin is not just AFK farming in a 1v1 that he was winning that hard. He could have had probably a 40-60 CS advantage. He was already up 30-40 early. And he could have definitely not given up any plates, but he knew that he needed to play the map. He knows that he needs to really be a part of these fights if they're to win them. So we'll see if he's going to be able to get involved and if BLG can challenge in these next couple Dragons.
Still 2,500 gold lead for the side of G2. Back at 14 minutes, we saw that the turret plate comparison was 8-2, a little bit over a plus 1,000 gold for G2 compared to what BLG earned from that. They also just claimed the first turret of the game. So tons of their money, tons of this lead coming not just from the kills that they have with the 4-2 advantage, but from the extra pressure they've got in the lanes from these plays, from the extra plates they were able to farm up. G2 now sending Caps back to base. He'll do his next shot. You can see win probability powered by AWS on your screen right now. That blue line is going very, very high.
And that is a good thing if you are an LEC fan, if you are a G2 fan, the last hope here for Europe at Worlds, trying to make it happen and trying to kind of do the improbable. They have been on this rough run, but there was really high expectations for them coming in, and they want to prove that they can take down these top teams, that they do belong amongst the elite teams in the world. And taking down BLG in one game here would be an incredible start.
Caps cosplaying a melee minion here in mid lane. When you're up against Nico, you gotta count them. Shun fires out the Nature's Grasp. Caps trying to stop these guys. Twisted advance, back onto Mickey. They charm him up. They want to blow him up, but they can't find him here just yet. The ulti keeps him alive. Zap comes through. Shun takes the kill.
Nice kill again, just locking down Mickey. They're expertly chaining the CC, not giving him an opportunity, and now with Mickey dead, the Herald's gonna drop you, Gao comes mid, and BLG are just gonna group 5 around this Herald to try to make sure that they do get a crash. If G2 overcommit, BLG may look for the go button here.
We'll see. The Herald slowly being chipped away at. All right, rears its head back for the charge. On goes in for the knockup. Not going to get a whole lot more. The Herald charge only did half the turret's health. It had taken pretty much no damage other than that, and it's just because Caps controlled the lane the entire early game.
Exactly. Gao was only seeing one tower, and that was his.
All right.
Did not cross that lane until he was a man.
And still, I think that's probably the first time he's crossed the lane is right there. So good job, Yagao. Crossed the midpoint here for the first time. BLG trying to claw their way back into this one. Less than 2 minutes until the next Drake spawns. Very slow Drake game so far. Just the first couple over to the side of G2 as Yagao gets away over the wall. Yike wants to chase them. They turn it back around. G2's jumper is overcommitted. They strike him down. Yagao's the one to get the kill.
That's a big kill there. The fact that Yagao lives as well, on and everyone piling in. They're ready to fight. They know G2 is going to look for picks. They know G2 is going to try to find these snap engages with the knockdown. They're saying, you know what, we're going to be ready for you. We're just going to group and we're going to be there to battle you at every turn. But Caps pushing down bot side. Does has to be respectful and knows it. Been hesitant a little bit to actually show on that top wave, but with no one showing now bot, he knows he can just at least push this out because On is covering him in that top side river, and then he'll back it up.
All right, let's take another look at how this happened. They thought, oh, this was beforehand. Yep. Excuse me, never mind. This was the initial catch on Mickey.
Exactly, and it's just all, again, about the CC chain. Look how well they did that. The Maokai ult into the Maokai knockup, into the ult, the charm there from the Rakan, then the knockup from the Rakan. There's just no way for him to move. And then here again, Yagao flashes over the wall. He has that phase rush proc though, but instantly everyone comes in. Double shield there by On, the knockup, the twisted advance, the knockback, everything there. They throw it all in the kitchen sink to protect Yagao, who has been the target of so much attention throughout this game.
Yagao jumping in now to the skies after Broken Blade, who goes for the Ragnarok. This is a big, big deal. Olaf without an ultimate in a team fight does not feel good to play.
And that hurts because he just pressed it a split second too late. He wanted the all-in, but he was too late on the click, which meant he got knocked back and then pressed it instead of immuning the knockback, which is what he wanted to do. He wanted to pop the ghost, have that knockback immune, and then go for it. G2, though, good positioning here, pushing up mid. Yagao and Shun trying to wrap back around, but again, you can see Bin moving down to the team. He wants to be here. They know they don't want to give up a third dragon for free. They want to start building that up for themselves.
Zap through the wall, won't find a target. Mickey's at about 2/3 HP. We've seen him survive a couple of situations a lot longer than he should thanks to the Lissandra ulti. Broken Blade still has a little bit of that cooldown left in the Ragnarok. G2 wants that back before they fight, and I think BLG wants exactly the opposite.
Exactly, BLG so good at punishing missing cooldowns. They will force here, but Hans is pushing mid, so at the very least, G2 is going to get that tier 1 for free. BLG, though, might end up in a fight because Broken Blade about to have that ulti. Here he comes.
Yikes, ready to jump in with a paranoia. Mickey goes in for the claw. He finds a lockdown onto 2. They want to burst him down, but they won't find him just yet. Big goes for the kill. Pop blows up. Caps found everybody, but is it going to be enough? He gets the kill on Yagao. Hansama goes back over the wall, but Bin hunts him down. Broken Blade and Yike back over onto the dragon. This is going to be taken very low. It's claimed by Broken Blade. They're on soul point, but at what cost? Broken Blade cuts down Bin. Elk is melee range against the Olaf. He flashes away, but he still puts the bullets through him. Caps, can he find any more? Holy cow, what a team fight.
It's mayhem at the dragon pit there, but critically G2 get the dragon. They walk away with the bigger prize. Bin crushing through in that team fight. Elk making magic happen for BLG as well. The engage here from G2, they pop the paranoia, and then it's Broken Blade who's supposed to be coming in on the flank, but they spot him. They have the Maokai ult down to try to disengage, and they all pile in on Yagao, but then this ulti from Caps was massive. Hans, killer instincts into the back line, but it has been there waiting, crushes through the G2 ADC, and this is where you start to think BLG could take this, but the dragon secured by Broken Blade of all people, so big for G2 because they still have the opportunity to grab Soul, and if they can take Soul, it would be so massive. Yeah. BLG are now one mistake, one pick, one miss smite away from that Mountain Soul going to G2 and really securing themselves a massive advantage.
Game number 2 is delivering. The win probability still in heavy favor of G2. Looks like it's got to be at about, what, 75, 80%, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah, up around there.
That soul point situation is so critical. It makes the rest of the game. You no longer have the choice. You can't just say, all right, we'll sack this one. Nah, that's not really the option. We always talk about Mountain Soul and its value as a defensive tool, being able to keep you alive a little bit longer. If you're trying to peel back, it's great for divers too. You throw yourself in with impunity and you just beat them to death before they can kill you.
Exactly. It always is going to have that value. It's always going to be really powerful. And it's so important for G2 to take it not only for themselves, but to deny it from BLG, because G2's composition is all upfront damage. If you give over Mountain Soul, and if you give over 3-4 Mountain Dragons, just even the flat arm and MR, it's likely going to be the end of the game. You know, G2 really need to secure this for themselves. And that secure from Broken Blade really makes such a difference. And now, this is not much defense here with that low tower.
Nope, Yagal tries to get something back, but honestly, G2 have bullied him this entire game, 1 and 5 on the Jace. He has been completely shut down.
Absolutely shut down here. Caps and Yike early, really hurting him badly in that mid lane, putting him so far behind, and now it's a roam from Hans, gets down towards that bot lane, ults in. The tower was no defense, and you can see BLG now has very few options. They're looking to chase down Broken Blade, but they're going to lose the tier 2 bot here very likely as this next wave comes in. We'll see if Cap stays around for it. He will.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 2 towers plus the kill going to G2 down on this bot side. The gold lead extends. Caps is getting richer and richer. Has 1,800 in pocket. Already had the Horizon focus, so going for this high damage build with the stopwatch in pocket, he doesn't even need to go for Zhonya's next. He can just keep building more and more damage and rely on that stopwatch. And then if he gets that critical flank, if he gets in onto Yelk, it could just be lights out for the BLG AD carry.
Caps showing up big here in this elimination game for G2. We're talking about the greatest Western mid laner League of Legends has ever had. We're talking about a guy who had some struggles at MSI. I remember personally watching his games and thinking, this is not Caps in peak form. He's recovered since then. He's having a super strong showing right now. And if he keeps playing the Nico like this, we're going to see a game 3.
And to me, that has always been the magic of Caps. This is the guy behind all of Europe's greatest international results. World Finals for Fnatic, Caps was there. MSI Championship, Caps was there. World Finals for G2, Caps was there. This is the guy
to see
who has led the way. This is the guy who was chain winning championships on Fnatic, then went to G2, and it became a dynasty. It became a team that sat alone at the top of Europe. And when he is on, he is really magic to watch because he plays so aggressive, and that's one of those things that allows him to pull off these special plays.
Mickey and Yike jumping in. Hans ready to follow up as they want to find the pick onto Shun. He tries to get away, but the guy said damage is more than enough. G2 have found the enemy jungler. Baron is on the map. G2, what are they going to do? They also only have 20 seconds until the next Mountain Drake spawns. If they just want to take that one, if they don't want to risk the Baron, they could guarantee a soul in a 5v4.
Yeah, they're going to go for the Dragon for sure. You know, this is going to be massive if they can get it. Caps potentially trying to set up a flank here as they know BLG are going to be forced into this play. It's the jungler dead. It's not like he can TP back and join in. BLG are going to have to buy so much time, and if they overcommit, Yagao is hunting, but Caps might just 100 to 0 him.
Oh, he missed the Q. Blooming Blows not connecting means there's no insta-burst there, but it's still G2 on the Mountain Soul. Bin trying to step up and challenge these guys, but it ain't gonna happen. He has to run. BLG in full retreat. On goes for a knockup on Broken Blade, but what's that gonna do? Not a whole lot of anything. Mountain Soul for the LEC's #1 seed.
And they want more. Broken Blade.
Broken Blade with the undertow. Mickey ready to charge forward. Paranoia's back up, ready to go again, and Yagao is about to die. Yike takes the kill. Shun tries to find Hansama as Elk wants to fire, but Caps can't find the Pop Blossom. Shun takes out Hans. Caps falls to the zap. A shutdown back over to Shun as now Yike is trying to chase off, but he ain't gonna find him. A killing spree for Elk. Could this be what BLG needed?
Elk just went crazy in that fight, anticipates the R flash from Caps, gets back, they get the bounty mid, they're gonna get the Baron as well. BLG flipped this game on its head. Elk absolutely takes over in the 5v5.
We have seen it before, we're seeing it again. Elk's team fighting saves the day for BLG.
It's a thing of beauty for BLG here as the G2 pick was excellent. They take down Shun. They know they can move towards the soul. They do secure it, but then it's about the fight on the chase afterwards here. As Broken Blade had already used the ulti, but they wanted more. They wanted to try to push in. They wanted to try to close it out. And after they secure that soul, you can see they push up here and they go for the engage, flashing forward there from Broken Blade, but On just dashes out. They go for the engage on Nigao, but guess what time it is? It's Zeri time! Pops the ulti, creates the space, watch this flash, anticipating the ulti flash from Caps. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I won't be fooled again. Elk goes crazy in the fight. And that is an AD carry from the LPL representing their region at the highest level.
Even gold. Before that, it was the biggest advantage G2 had seen yet in the game. Now, although they command the Mountain Soul still, that permanent buff, it's BLG in control of the Baron for the next 2 minutes. G2 need to dig in their heels and defend. They cannot afford to give any more of those openings.
Absolutely, and you also have to take a moment, collect yourself, realize, yes, BLG just had a big win. Yes, they do have the Baron buff, but you have the permanent power of the Soul. The game is still well within your grasp. You can still win from here. Just wait out the Baron, play towards Elder, keep doing what you've been doing because it has been working throughout this game. But I will say, at this point, you've killed Yagao enough. You have to start, like, I'm not even saying it as a joke.
I know it's not a joke, but it just sounds fun.
It does, but it's like, you have to realize when the guy is no longer a threat, right? You can't full send everything at Yagao and ignore Elk, because if you do, you're gonna have a fight like you just saw.
Yeah, you look at Yagao's itemization. Third item just now completed in the Serpent's Fang.
And it's cheap items.
Yeah, he's just building whatever junk he can find that'll give some sort of usefulness.
Yep.
And that's where he's at. He's 1-6 Jace that's down 50 CS. He's not the carry. The Zeri with 320 farm is exactly what BLG is going to depend on to win this game.
Exactly, and he is now 2,000 gold ahead of where Hans is in that AD carry versus AD carry matchup. He has the LDR completed. He could be going GA next to kind of answer this full-on dive. It could also be a BT angle and just sit onto this stopwatch. We'll see what it's going to be. Bin also very tanky. Look at how tanky he's going to be. Spirit Visage, Sterix, Gore Drinker, Stopwatch, level 16 Renekton. If you try to fight through this guy, he's going to make you pay, and they're setting up here, trying to control vision on this bot side of the map to enable the split push down through bot.
And even though the Serpent's Fang is a cheap item, you're up against Mountain Soul. You're up against Nico's shield on the... Well, used to have a shield on the ulti. You're up against Kai'Sa's shield on the ulti. You're up against the shields that Broken Blade gets for himself. It's not without value, but it's usually not what you see Jace build third. It's still going to be effective. The big thing here, Mr. Azael, is the Elder. All the Drakes thus far may have gone to G2, but none of that's going to matter here in about 2 minutes.
I mean, that's the tough thing, is when you make that one mistake in the late game costs you so much more, right? Because you can grab a Baron, because you can grab an Elder, because you can grab these buffs. And the Elder especially really feels like if you mess up there, it wipes away all of the good work you've done throughout the entire game. So G2 have got to button it up, have got to be on point here.
This next fight for this Elder is going to be completely psychotic. We have 1, 2, 3 stopwatches on the top side of the map for G2. Broken stopwatches for the bot side, so we'll see if the Kai'Sa can get that Guardian Angel up or not. It's Guardian Angel for the Zeri. It's stopwatch on the Renekton. There are so many tools available on both sides to make this fight chaotic.
And every flash is going to be available. They're just now coming up across the board, all 10 members. This is going to be a challenge of how well can you coordinate, how well can you communicate. Your entire year is on the line, the last hope of the LEC here. If you lose this fight at Elder, that could be it. That could be it done. But if they can take that fight, propel themselves forward in this series, we know that they are capable of getting these wins, but it is a monumental challenge standing before them. BLG, some of the masters of team fighting here.
BLG looking to push forward and take control over the G2 bot side jungle, get some vision, and guarantee that they have priority over the bottom side river. They've got the Scuttle Crab already secured. Mickey using the claw to get himself back, so they know they don't have to worry about that being used as an engage tool here for a couple of seconds.
Caps has been spotted on the bot wave. If G2 are careful, BLG could hard engage on them here. Look at On, he's finding an angle. On might go.
Battle Dance used, but no angle here just yet. Caps still hovering around the bottom part of the red side G2 jungle. Poke from Yagao, a little bit, not a whole lot.
I mean, just look at the vision control. It's all BLG wards, it feels like, in this whole area. G2 are trying to reclaim vision, but Mickey taking that poke as he tries to step forward. There's going to be saplings in every brush. It will make things very, very difficult. And you know that Caps is on the flank, but they've spotted him.
He's trying to go in. He gets knocked back by Yagal. Pop of the stasis trying to stay alive, but now it's going to be Bin in the middle of everybody. Hans grabbing the assassination on the BLG mid laner. Bin tries to stand and fight. It's Mickey traded away 1-for-1 so far. Bin wants to slice and dice, but he can't get away just yet. Now he finally will. Broken Blade trying to finish off the enemy top laner as BLG wants to regroup and peel the Olaf away. They can't kill him. He's so damn tanky. Elk with the ult. He's going to pop the Guardian Angel from the Nocturne as now he's refiring back on the Olaf. He wants to kill him to On, but Broken Blade can't do it. Elk's going over the wall. He's trying to outfight it. Can he get the damage? Bin with a stun into Hans, but instead he gets brought down himself. Caps with a shutdown. Void Seeker finds Elk, who now has to retreat. It's 2 dead on BLG. It's 2 dead on G2.
What a fight, back and forth. All flashes spent, all 10 flashes down now. The Elder is still up though. Who can get back out on the map first? It's been with the longest respawn timer. G2 may have an angle to try to force this. The pings are coming down onto the Elder. I want to get out of the replay. I want to see what's happening.
Yeah, let's take a look.
We're going to watch it one more time here as G2 go in onto Gal. They spot him out on the side. But it is the Bin in the middle of everyone. So tanky, buying so much time. Is on the other side. Mickey gets burst down. And then the stopwatch buys time for the cooldowns to come back up from Bin. He gets back to his team. They kite it out. They're able to knock down Broken Blade eventually. We're back to live. We're back to Elder.
Everybody's ready to go. Broken Blade's not here. There's no TP on the Olaf. Bin's going to respawn here in about 3 seconds. The Elder's down to 4,000 HP. Could it be an Elder flip to end the game? Shun's locked down. Elder Drake coming to G2. What about the team fight after? Caps dies before he can get the ulti. Now they're gonna put the damage into Hans. Bin's already killed off Yikes. Hans is gonna die. They got the Elder, but they may have lost the game.
BLG take over in the fight. Take over in the 5v5. G2 get the Elder, lose the fight. Will they lose the game here? They are not going to Baron. They think they have time to end. And BLG marching down mid. It's up to Broken Blade. It's up to Mickey. They have to buy time.
Tier 2 turret under pressure. Already gone. Yagal reinforcing with a TP.
They'll pull back.
They're pulling back. Yeah, they don't want this. They recognize that without the Baron, they're not going to have the pushing power to end here just yet. Those 15-second respawn timers won't be enough to stop the Baron.
You had to think when you saw the Elder go to G2, they won the game. They have it. But the execution was not there on the 5v5 afterwards. Watch Caps, watch Hans. As in comes this engage, they do get it. But look at On. Locks up Caps. Caps just gets destroyed. The Pot Blossom doesn't even proc and then they get right back in onto Hans.
And the big difference is the TP from Bin. It was a 5v4. Broken Blade is running from all the way out in Zimbabwe trying to get back to this fight, and he can't get there in time. The fight's already over. But luckily for G2, their opponents did not have the time they needed to end the game. There's still another chance, but this game too is completely insane.
Absolutely. And the Elder, I think, is it on Broken Blade? It is. So it's on Broken Blade and Mickey still. So G2, have that for 40 seconds, but it's going to expire. We're likely just going to go to the next objective fight here. The gold is really no longer going to matter for most of these players. They're going to start capping out, in these next 5 minutes, 6 minutes before we get to the next Elder. We're going to see that happening. And Elk going back to base, he probably has his 6th item right now, would be my guess on that recall. You can see, though, BLG with the Baron here, they want to kind of really capitalize on this 130 that they're going to have after the Elder expires, but before the Baron buff ends. And that's when they're going to be trying to strike, trying to push in. And we'll see if G2 can clear this up.
Guardian Angel still up for Elk. Guardian Angel up for Bin. Cooldown still needs about 25% of what it is for Yike. You've got 1 second left in the Elder. That's gone now. Still a minute and a half here for the Baron. We'll see if BLG can find an angle to force a fight.
It's just 10-man bot. Neither team is willing to actually split up. BLG knows if they go to the side lanes, they're going to get jumped on by the Nocturne here, and they're going to have to be really respectful of that. Caps just dancing back and forth, always trying to threaten the engage here, popping out those clones, keeping BLG scared. BLG don't have the confidence to actually fully step forward. They're not really getting any chip damage at all down on the tower because they know they could get engaged on.
It's all about Elk and Caps. Elk tries to get away, but he's going to be knocked into the Guardian Angel as soon as the fight begins.
Hans.
Now they want to turn back onto Hans. He's killed off. Elf hops back over the wall. He's ready to kite it out. G2 are collapsing. Ben gets the kill back over onto Mickey as Broken Blade wants to protect Caps. Elf is unstoppable. G2 have crumbled. The fight was long and arduous, but BLG have triumphed. Caps gets a shutdown, and maybe he can save the game.
Let's see, it's Caps in a 1v3. He's gotta hold on, but it is looking so dire. They commit everything for Elk, but he had the GA. They took him down once, they couldn't get him twice, and now Caps, with no flash, has to hold on.
He's got 15 seconds until Mickey's back, then 15 more for Hans.
It's not over.
It's not over yet. The carries are dead on BLG. It's not over yet. They may have triumphed in the fight, but the game goes on.
It's madness here as G2 make the call, full send it. They're going in here. Caps has been threatening with this clone time and time and time again. They get right in onto Elk, but he saves the E for after the GA, goes right over the wall, creates that space from Yike. Yike tries to flash in on him on the top side to see if he can burst him down, but it's not enough. Elk is there, On is there, and Hans critically was bursted down so quickly after he went in. He doesn't have the GA, he doesn't have that second life. So sure, you got that first kill, but BLG again take the fight. And now the BT is done there from Elk, so he's on 6 items. Yagao even has caught up as far as the itemization is concerned. He's 4 and 8, but who cares? The man is on 5 items and a stopwatch. GA is now completed as well for Bin and Broken Blade and Yike. Double Zonias now as well. Mickey has a Zonias, Hans has a Zonias. The Zonias is almost back up for Caps. These fights are absolute insanity. Back and forth between these two teams. No one will give up. Both teams battling on valiantly here. It's G2 still with that soul advantage, and that's what's keeping them in the game. Mickey on a deep flank angle here, but if he gets spotted, he could be in trouble, so he has to be careful. He wants to try to go for the long con here, stay back in this brush, so they wouldn't expect him coming from behind when the Elder spawns, but this is always risky, because if that randomly gets checked, that could be game ending.
Well, I hope you like Elder fights, Isaac, because we're in for another one. 35 seconds from now, and once again, it's BLG looking to take control of Vision in the bottom side G2 jungle. Caps waiting.
I think BLG are going to start getting suspicious. They haven't seen Mickey anywhere. You have to start thinking, where could he be? And they're trying to look potentially here for a pick onto Caps.
Oh,
it's
very
Caps.
far. If he gets caught, that's huge. Pop Blossom ain't gonna get anything. He fires off another route to try to lock down Yagao. On goes in. Now they're turning it around. Elk is gonna die. Huge play from Ansama. He'll be turning away for Caps, but now Ben and Shun will be killed by the might of all of G2. Ben cannot survive for very much longer. The Guardian Angel's gonna bring him back, but On and Yagao will not save him. G2 just found themselves a fight and found themselves an Elder.
And it was all down to Mickey. He stayed so long there in that brush. He got the engage onto Elk. He put the plasma on him. Hans can get in. That risky play. He bets it all, and he comes up big time.
That's your LEC MVP. Getting it done and keeping G2 alive.
The crowd here in Seoul erupting in G2 chants. They love the battle. They love the fight. Watch Mickey, top of your screen, right here. That long flag, that right there is an engage from the LEC MVP. And he sets it up for the squad. So risky staying back there for that long. He was on that flank engage for a full minute at least. And they get the pick onto Elk with no GA on him. It means so much, and now they get Elder. Now they get Baron, and it is BLG who are gonna be so hard pressed here to hang on with this double super buff plus soul. G2 need to close it out during this window. It does not get better for them ever from here.
This is it. You take the Baron, do a recall if you need to, and then you get your asses to the enemy base. It's time to make the play. It's time to end the game.
And they also have double GA advantage. Massive for G2. Broken Blade and Yike, neither of them lost it. Elks is still not up. Bin just lost his. It's going to be a while before they have those available, so GT need to push now. The wave clear on BLG is very poor. They're not going to be able to clear out these waves really easily. They're for sure going to lose the outers. They're for sure going to lose an inhibitor. They have to make the call. Do we try to fight into this? Do we just try to give it up and defend to the Nexus? How long can we hold on? Because they need to thin this wave as much as possible.
Nature's Grasp flies out. Yike blocks it with Spell Shield. TP coming in. They're going to kill on before anything else happens. Han Sama's on a rampage. And Broken Blade leads the charge. Elf's not getting away. And Caps throws them all up into the air. Yagao will not stop it. G2 will not go down without a fight. Quadra kill for Han Sama.
They're trying to go for the Penta, but it is over. It is done. G2 have won. Here comes Hans. He wants that Penta. Give it to him. He deserves it.
Hans trying to chase them. Yagao trying to get away. It's not going to matter. The Nexus will fall. It's all theatrics at this point for the pentakill. Hans won't get there. He's still trying to chase it. Yagao gets out, but the series goes on. We're going to game 3.
Let's go. G2 battling back here after a dominant game 1 from BLG.